All right, you guys, well, we are back with page 2 of the Algebra Review. Number 9, asking what are the factors of 36 that add, I'm going to say add, to give you 15. What multiplies to get 36 and add to give 15? So basically, all this question is asking is put 36 up here and 15 down here and think what's going to multiply to get you the top and add to give you the bottom. 36, and I want to list out all those factors. Don't forget you can put this into your calculator just by going to y equals 36 divided by x, and then second graph. Now pull up that table of all of your factors, and keep in mind you want the whole numbers. So you've got 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12 give you 36, and 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. And you're just looking for that combination that adds to give you 15, and that would be 3 and 12. 3 and 12. So your answer is 3 and 12. Okay? Sorry I have the sniffles and sneezes. Let's move on to number 10. Number 10 gives us instructions. First, I need to factor out a GCF. Then I need to solve by setting each parenthesis equal to 0. So, let's look at number 10. I need to factor out the greatest common factor between those two terms. In this case, it's going to be 6. Always check this number and see if this number will divide into that number evenly. If it does, then you found your greatest common factor. That's a real easy trick to just catch your eye on that one. So I'm going to take out that 6. I'm going to see what's left inside my parentheses. And how you want to see what's left is you just divide each term by 6. Divide by 6, divide by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. That leaves an x squared. And then negative 24 divided by 6 is a negative 4 inside my parentheses. Well, now I need to factor those parentheses. And I notice that now I've got perfect squares inside those parentheses. So I know how to factor a perfect square just like we did on the front page, just by breaking it up into two parentheses, still equal to 0. And then I think, what times what is x squared? Well, x times x. Then I think, what two numbers multiply to give me 4? That's the same number but different sign. Well, it's 2 times 2. So you get a plus 2 and a minus 2. That's 6. He gets to tag along down here, but he's outside the parentheses, so he needs to stay outside. But now I need to solve. So I set each parenthesis equal to 0. X plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. To solve, you just get that letter by itself by doing the opposite of whatever's going on. So you get x equals a negative 2, and x equals a positive 2. Come over here and put it in your answer blank. Make sure I can read that negative sign, please. Some of you guys make it so small it's hard to see. Let's look at number 11. Same thing. I have to factor out a GCF. I'm lucky it told me. I don't even have to worry about it. So let's go ahead and check. Does 80 divide by 5 evenly? It does. So I can take that 5 out and divide each term in order to see what's left. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. So you're just left with m squared. And then 80 divided by 5 is 16. So you get negative 16. From there, I need to factor and set each parenthesis equal to 0. I'm really excited because both of these are perfect squares in here. So I know how to factor that. 2 parentheses equal to 0. And you think, what times what is m squared? M and m. Then I'm thinking, what number is multiplied by itself to get 16? So that would be 4. 4 times 4 is 16. It's a negative 16, so I know my signs have to be different because a positive times a negative is a negative. From here, because I'm solving, I'm going to set each parenthesis equal to 0. M plus 4 equals 0, and M minus 4 equals 0. Solve for M. So you get M equals a negative 4, and M equals a positive 4. And those are your answers, negative 4 and positive 4. Number 12 and 13 are just a little bit more complicated. All you're going to do is have to factor out the GCF first, then factor the entire problem. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is check what number do they have in common. Well, they all have a 2. So I'm going to take that 2 out. I'm going to divide to see what's left. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that leaves just z squared. 20 divided by 2 is 10, z. 50 divided by 2 is 25. Unlike the last two problems, this problem I now have 3 terms, so I have to factor the traditional way. Thinking what multiplies to give me 25 and adds to give me 10. In this case, it came right to me. I know that that's going to be a 5 and a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. So, to continue my actual problem, you've got 2 outside the parentheses. I'm factoring, so I know I'm going to have 2 parentheses. What times what is z squared? Well, z times z. I know my signs are going to be the same because of that positive sign right there. And then this positive sign tells me they're both positive. So plus, plus, and then 5 and 5. From here, you set each parenthesis equal to 0. So z plus 5 equals 0 and z plus 5 equals 0. I know that's going to give me the same answer, but it's a good habit to get into, to set each parenthesis equal to 0. It's going to give me z as a negative 5. Z equals a negative 5. Number 13, same process. You're just going to want to factor out the greatest common factor first, then factor completely. So in this case, I can divide each one of these numbers by 3. So I'm going to take that guy out and see what's left. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Negative 18 divided by 3 is a negative 6. Positive 15 divided by 3 is a positive 5. Now I need to factor that guy. So 3 stays out. I've got 2 sets of parentheses. This tells me my signs are going to be the same. This tells me they're both negative. So x minus x minus. To get the numbers, I have to think what multiplies to give me 5 and adds to give me negative 6. Keep in mind, your signs are the same, so they're both negative numbers. I know that's going to be a negative 1 and a negative 5. 1 and 5. Now that I'm factored, I have to set each parenthesis equal to 0. Add 1, x equals 1. Add 5, x equals 5. So your 2 answers for that case was x equals 1 and x equals 5. Next section, factor the difference of squares. I like these because I only have 2 terms here, and both of them are perfect squares. I know I can factor that into 2 sets of parentheses just by thinking what times itself is h squared. Well, h times h. Then what number times itself is 49. I know it's going to be 7 and 7. But it's a negative 49, so I have to have different signs. One has to be positive and one has to be negative. And I'm done there. Put my answer over here, h plus 7 and h minus 7. From here, I just want to do that same thing for 15. They're both perfect squares, so I can factor them straight into two parentheses. G times G is G squared. One's a plus, one's a minus. H times H is H squared. G plus H and G minus H. Okay. That's it for page 2 of the review. You'll find page 3 of the review next. Let me know if you need it.